All right, hello y'all. This is gonna be part one of how to build paper faces. So this one will go up today, and I will be able to put up your second video for this by the end of the week. So what you'll need is Bristol board, as I usually use. You probably just need about one sheet if you're going to make a head smaller than actual size, or maybe baby size if you want to create a head this large. If you want to make something that is actually like true to size, true to life, then you'll probably need maybe about 2 sheets of Bristol. With that Bristol board, all you're gonna do is you're gonna create strips, right? Didn't find the need to record this for you since we did this in the last video. I just cut strips of Bristol board. They're 1/2 inches wide, as you see here, and this is going to be our building material to build our skulls. Okay, then you'll also need handy dandy Mod Podge. You'll also need some paper clips. I have paper here just to sketch out to you what we are going to make. I have my bone folder here, scissors, a ruler, pencil, and you'll also need a brush to put your Mod Podge out on. So that's all the materials you'll need. I am going to move these to the side, and I'm going to quickly sketch out for you exactly what we're going to make. So at the front of this video, I put a couple images of, or right next to the video on the website, you'll see a couple images of paper heads I've done in the past. And I want to show you exactly what we're building. And we're building essentially the skull. And the next video we'll be building on the skin. So there's a bit of layers here. So what we're going to start with is a circle. This is essentially the outer part of your skull, around your like forehead area. You're also going to make a rounded point here to show the top of your head. Then I'm going to come down with the jawline, so it's going to come out a bit. And we are also going to build what this nose is going to look like. So it looks funny from front. If you look at it from the side, essentially it's going to just look like this. And then we'll make a nose. Okay. So it's just going to look something like this. So I'm going to show you how to make 2 of these today. So you can use these 2 skulls to create a head from. Okay. So let's get started. So you're going to start with a strip of paper. You're going to grab your Mod Podge, take that out. Remember, I like to use a separate cap, so I have just a jar cap here to put my glue on. If you want to grab something for yourself to put your glue on, that's a great idea, because I like to keep my Mod Podge covered because it likes to dry quickly. So we don't want to ruin that. And I have my brush here. Alright, so I'm going to start with making this part of the skull first. And I'm going to put quite a bit of glue. I really don't mind getting glue on my my cutting mat. It's a lot easier to peel off if you want to waste some paper, if you have scraps or something that you want to use instead, and put it down, so you do not have to clean up your cutting mat or table later. You can do that. So you're going to start with just a circle. Again, using our handy dandy paper clips as scaffolding. I'm going to put one here and one here. Okay. So you might have to do a little bit of rounding out depending on how your paper is. But you should get a pretty round shape there. Okay, so I'm just going to put that to the side. And this next piece I like to put inwards. Okay, put it inside of my skull here. And I often think of this as the back, where this is intertwining, and then I think about this as the front. So this is essentially eyebrows up. Okay, so you still want to create somewhat of some space here. And for the head, I like to keep it about halfway center point here, as you see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on my paper that's already rounded. Add lots of glue there. Put that piece in its spot. And this is why we're using paper clips, right? Like we did in the lantern piece, you'll see that paper clips are great because they're not gonna stick onto the glue the same way that tape would. Okay, so you just kind of want to make sure they're rather even. Again, you're gonna have to kind of play with how the paper is morphing. Sometimes you have to push it around, show it who's boss a little bit, and you got to morph it around a little bit. So again, adding glue to the round piece here. I like to make sure that they're rather even. And it's the thing, I always get my paper clips super duper tangled up. I have so many random like bowls of paper clips around my house that I use for different kinds of glues. And I also notice like when you try to get the nice like gold paper clips, they rust a little bit quicker, so sometimes if you use them they might, yeah, and of course you show up for this video too. Yeah, my cat's back. So sometimes I've noticed when I use gold paper clips, I'm not quite sure what they're, I mean, of course they're not real gold. I don't know anyone that uses solid gold paper clips or binder clips. But I noticed that there's a bit of rusting that happens, especially around the Mod Podge, and it could cause like the rust color to rub off onto the head. So I just suggest working with the just regular silver ones. Or even the ones that are like colorful, that are like covered with that kind of plastic on top, could work as well. I'm not quite sure how how those would stick to the Mod Podge, but what's great about the metal ones is that you're really not getting any stick to the paper clips. All right, so there's just 2 more things left to get these heads, well, these skulls ready for us to get working on later on in the week. So you want to make sure you have a chin for your person here, right? They need a jawline. So it's up to you who this person is that you're creating. You might want to think about the shape of their head. Do they have a heart-shaped head? Do they have a really square jaw? It is really depending on the character you're creating. For me, I think it's going to be a more feminine character, so I'm going to make the chin rather small, and all I'm doing is I'm folding to create some kind of angles. And as you see here, from this angle, I am seeing how far out this chin is going to go in comparison to the brow line, right? So if you like to draw portraits like I do, this is like very similar how you would set up kind of how to draw a face. So you can almost think of it as that. Okay, so this might make sense. Does the head feel too long? No. Feels right to me. Okay. So, in doing so, I'm going to cut my paper down a bit. I know that this is way too long, so I'm just going to get this out of the way. But, of course, I'll probably have to do additional cuts once I put it together. So I do recommend you cut it down before you install. It just makes it a little bit easier for you. Okay. So, I'm going to add glue right on the side here. And then I'm just going to take paper clip, hold that into place. Okay, I'm going to do the same on the other side. And if you're making someone that has a stronger brow line, then you might want to take this part here and move it a little bit more backwards. Okay, that could allow for the brow line to feel stronger. But also, this is a very layered piece. You have the ability to layer quite a bit and add volume. So now you see we have all these extra little pieces. Before I do any cutting, I want to compare. Like I showed you all before, I don't do super duper secure measurements, but it's all about really figuring out how the piece fits together and matching it up that way. I mean, most faces are semi-symmetrical, but they're not fully symmetrical, so the imperfections of our faces can come into play nicely with our paper sculptures. Okay, so you're gonna hold these as is, and the last thing we're gonna do is make a frame for their chin. Okay, so I'm just cutting these parts away. We don't need all of this paper. And if you feel like your little corner here might be sticking up, it's double up on the paper clips. That's cool. You can double up. And I really suggest that this skull stays in its paper clips overnight, or at least for a few hours. It's really nice to have a strong skull to work from as we're building. We don't want it to be weak, and for our actual heads or these heads. Okay, so that's going to be the start. And then you want to give an indication of how the nose is going to look here. So again, this really depends on the subject you are creating. Again, if this is coming out of your imagination, then it's really up to you. But you want to give yourself some kind of idea of where the chin is going. I mean the nose is going in on your face. If it's coming really high up. Okay, this is again a good idea to do for volume, so you know where things are going to be, and it also makes sure that we have more area to build off of. Okay, so again, I'm going to take my paper clips here, and I'm going to fold at the top here, just so it feels a little extra secure. So I'm just gonna put glue on the fold and upwards, and I'm going to install it right at the top, and take a couple, should just use one paper clip, and I can put that in place. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing with the chin, so I'm gonna cut it down a little bit. Fold it at that point. Fold my paper over. See here? Just needs to be cut down just a little bit more. And then I'm going to take my Mod Podge and cover it as so. Okay, so you're just going to use a paper clip, last point, to put this guy together. Okay, so I suggest making two. I will have two made for you when we are working on our more final portraits. Well, the second layer of the portrait. And again, you're gonna have to, this is a sculpture, sculpt the paper. Okay, sometimes you kind of have to move it a little bit. You got to show it to his boss, like I said before. And don't be afraid to move it around, sculpt it a bit. All right, so I suggest you make two of these, and we will cover these in the next video. So I hope that was helpful. And again, this is purely just the skull. If we want to install next, we can do that too. And it's kind of similar to the way that I made the tree lantern. Actually, you can use similar circles to build up to make a cylinder, and you can simply connect it through the jaw. I find it quite easy to work with this in a kind of handheld method, and then you can install and build the neck separate and put it on top. It makes it a little easier, but again, we can talk about that as we continue to work on this project next week. So I hope that was helpful to get started, and I will show you how to build up on these in next video.